Hello, and welcome to the 741 channel. Thank you for stopping by. Today we're going to take a look at this nibbling tool that I picked up on Amazon recently. If you're interested in purchasing one of these for yourself, you'll find a link in the description below to my Amazon store where this product is featured. I originally learned about the nibbling tool by watching a couple videos on Buzzsaw's channel. If you're not familiar with his channel, you'll find a link to that in the description below too. Now, I didn't have an immediate need for this tool, but I wanted it in my toolbox so that when I do need it, it's there and ready to go. So here's a look at the packaging. You can see this is marketed by a company called Hanlong Tools. Needless to say, this is a Chinese unit, so that could change at any moment. But you can kind of see from the picture here what the intended purpose of this thing is for. You can kind of nibble slots and channels and cutouts in sheet metal or sheet plastic with this unit. Here's a quick look at the back of the package. You can kind of see another closer look at sort of the intended use, or one of the intended uses for the tool. So there's a closer look at the specs in case you couldn't read them before. As you can see, aluminum and copper plate between 0.5 and 1.2 millimeters, plastic between 0.5 and 1.6 millimeters, and other unhardened metal between 0.5 and 1.2 millimeters are the recommended thicknesses. And then of course the second statement there just lets you know that if you want to drill an inside contour, you'll need to first drill a 3/8 inch hole to fit the nibbler into it. So anyway, let's get it out of the package here and see what it looks like. Okay, so you can see here it's got a little safety clip to kind of keep it together for storage, so we'll set that aside. Okay, so here's a look at the tool. You can see that it's made almost entirely from metal. I believe the outer part is nickel plated, or at least that's what they say on the packaging. These two grips here are plastic, but those are just for your fingers to kind of help you squeeze it. You can turn it around and use it whichever way you want. And now here's a look at the top of the tool. You can see there's a metal plate here with a screw in it. Presumably this comes off if you ever needed to change the actual nibbling blade. I'm not sure if you can buy a replacement or not, but anyway, it looks like you could change it if you needed to. And then here is a look at the nibbler itself. You can see it's got just a notch cut in it, and this is sort of at an angle so that it doesn't cut straight down. It's got a little bit of a taper to it to kind of bite through the material, and it's just spring loaded. You just clamp down on it and let it go. So let's find a few things to cut here and see how it actually works. So I grabbed a few things out of my junk box to test cutting with. First up, I think we'll try this Altoids tin. Now you can see here that this has got kind of a bent over lip all around. Our first cut is probably going to exceed the thickness that they recommend on the package, but I'm going to go ahead and give it a try. This is just tin anyway, so it should be okay. Alright, so let's give this a try. I'm just going to put the cutting head in around that bent over lip and give it a good squeeze. And there was a little bit of effort there, but not much. You can see it made a nice nibble in it. Let's keep going and see what it does. So there you go. So not the fastest tool in the world. It's only taking a little bit of a cut each time, but you can see it made a pretty clean cut. And if I had held things a little bit straighter, it would have been straighter too. But either way, it looks like it's doing a pretty decent job. So next up, let's try this old circuit board. This is probably about 0.062 in thickness. Let's give it a try and see what we get. Okay. So I'm able to kind of cut in the circuit board material, but it's a little tougher to get everything lined up and get a good bite on it. A little harder to use on the circuit board here, but it does seem to be working. And it doesn't seem to have any trouble cutting through this material, even though there's some copper clad on one side. So no problems there. So the next up I have this old microphone base. I'm not sure how thick this is. Anyway, let's give it a try. I'll just start here in this existing cutout here and see what we get. And that seems to cut nice. So no issue on this either, even though it's a little thicker than the Altoids tin. You can see it made a nice clean cut here on this aluminum microphone base. Let's do one more test on this piece of vinyl siding that I have here and see what we can do with this. Now, this would take a long time to cut, you know, a large notch in something like this, but if you needed a real precise cut on a piece of trim for some reason, you could use a tool like this. Maybe they even make bigger ones for that type of application. I think this one primarily is for hobbyist use or, you know, that sort of a thing. But anyway, let's give it a try. Well, it looks like it works just fine on vinyl siding too. No issues there, except for me not being able to cut straight. Okay, so that's pretty much it. I mean, there's really not much to this tool, and you can see that it seems to work pretty well on a variety of materials. Now, the main use for something like this, at least that I can think of in my mind, and what I saw Buzz using it for on his channel, is to make custom switch plates, so you can cut a nice rectangle and mount a switch like this into a faceplate or something like that. I'm sure there's lots of other uses for this too, but as far as the electronics hobby goes, I think that's what its main use would be. So that's pretty much it for the Nibbler here. I think it's a pretty handy tool to have in your toolbox if you're an electronics hobbyist and you need to make small cuts in circuit boards or faceplates or things like that. So again, if you're interested in this tool and want to purchase one, please consider visiting my Amazon store, which you'll find a link to in the description below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you'd like to leave a comment or subscribe, feel free to do that as well. Thanks for watching.